Welcome to The Difference Makers, sponsored by Difference Makers Media. Hi, I'm Lynn Sanders, your host, and I am so glad you're here. Our mission is to empower, inspire, and motivate you to tap into your greatness by learning stories from other difference makers, people who are making a big impact in the world. And I'm very excited to share a special guest with you today who's doing just that. Her name is Renee Mollan-Masters, and she is a best-selling author, director, and producer. Her best-selling book, You Are Smarter Than You Think, has sold over 125,000 copies across the country. In fact, it's a book that has been changing the lives of youth everywhere. And now she has a new book and movie coming out, Peace Train, that's on the track, pardon the pun, it's on the track to doing the same thing. So without further ado, let's welcome Renee Mollan-Masters. Hello, Renee.
Hello, Lynn. How are you? It's so good to see you.
It's great seeing you from across the country. You in Oregon, me in Illinois here. So
Yes.
I have to say, Renee, I was really impressed when I first met you in that online community a couple of years ago, and I just thought you have such great warmth and passion to make a difference. So I would love you to share first a little bit of your background, your story of what inspired you to write your first book, You Are Smarter Than You Think.
Great. Thank you. Well, like a lot of people, school was really tough for me. I had to work very, very hard. And even though I had a master's degree in speech pathology, there was a part of me that thought I was kind of stupid or whatever.
Really?
Then I read Dr. Howard Gardner's work, and this was back in the 70s, and he talked about how everybody learns differently. And it was like a light bulb went off. All these neurons started connecting in my head, and I said, wait a minute, I'm not stupid. School just didn't line up with how my brain works.
Huh.
So out of that realization, I created this. I started doing workshops with kids in college, and they started saying, Renee, this is really something. This is really making a difference for me. So then I wrote the book, You're Smarter Than You Think. I had created this program, and I started marketing it to nursing programs because that's who was interested. Nurses, oh my gosh, they have to learn the material, and it's a tough course. So that's where most of the books have been sold.
Wow. So you did your own writing, publishing, and marketing of that book?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
I started, it was the nursing programs that told me, hey, you got to write a book. So then I launched the book at the National League for Nurses national conference. And from that, I had instructors that were interested. And then I took a tour around the United States doing speeches and talking to different schools. And I ended up, recruiting a bunch of schools, and that's how it all happened.
Well, you make it sound so simple. I'm sure it took a great deal of work. I mean, just to do all of that, put it together.
They were worried about, they were losing like 80% of their students, and they didn't know what was going on. And what was going on is that the kids didn't know how to use their brain correctly in order to learn the material. I had one story where a lady had been an LPN for years. She tried to get in the nursing program and she couldn't, she flunked. And so I worked with her and I showed her how to use her brain the way it was designed. And when she took the test again, she got the highest grade that anybody had ever gotten.
Oh
so it's
gosh.
Stupid. We don't know how to use our brains. We don't know how to use
all life is perspective. And I think that you identified it right from that book, which would lead us to our second book. But before we do that, I wanted you to share a bit of your personal story, because that's what makes you unique, of your challenges that you faced and had to overcome in order to move forward in your life. Would you be able to share that with us?
Yeah, I'd love to. I was lucky. I married my best friend, and he was the love of my life. And we were married for over 30 years. And the last 10 years of our life, he started losing his memory. And he had vascular dementia. And I became a caregiver instead of a wife. And it was one of the most challenging things I've ever done.
Mhm.
And I eventually got some help, which really I should have gotten sooner. But it taught me that he was my best friend, and I couldn't abandon him, even though the situation was tough. And it taught me how to love, even though the situation was not the best. And it changed me.
Yes.
And when he died, when he passed away, I took a class from Renee Brown. And in that class, she asked, is there anything that you if you died tomorrow, what would you feel sorry that you had not accomplished? And I knew what it was immediately.
What was that?
And that was to be involved in film. I had a dream, a reoccurring dream, that I came here to bring stories to the world that would change things. I know that sounds crazy, but
No, not at all.
that's what happened. And so here I was, my husband had just died, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to do it. And that's where the story Peace Train came to me, was from that place.
Wow. Let me ask you, had you written your first book before the illness with your husband?
Yes, I had.
So
I had written it over almost 25 years ago.
I see. So you had that success, and then you were dealing with the whole journey of caring for your husband, and then bringing you could say that whole journey brought you to the awareness that we have limited time on earth, and that brought you to the realization, what do you want to accomplish while you're still here?
Yes.
Which led you to Peace Train.
And I feel like everybody came here for a reason. And most of us aren't lucky enough to know what that is. But if you want to know, I think you'll get told that information. And so I know why I'm here. And I know this is what I have to do, what I want. And I'm having a blast doing it.
That's so great. Well, so now we all need to know, what is Peace Train all about? So we found out what inspired you, because I'd like to know even more what inspired you to write that book. You knew you had to write and do a movie and a book. What led you towards Peace Train, and what is it all about?
Well, one of the things that I have done is that for 20 years, I volunteered for Special Olympics.
Okay.
And Eunice Kennedy Shriver taught us something. And what she taught us is that if you focus on the solution instead of the problem will take care of itself. So I wanted to write a story that talked about solution. And I heard about these camps that were being done in the United States with Palestinian and Israeli kids. Mm-hmm. And how these kids were getting together at camp and becoming really good friends. So I went to the website and I looked at the website, and what I learned is that when they went home, those friendships evaporated. It didn't hold. So I thought, okay, here's the story, and that was the impetus. That's what sparked the story, and that's where Peace Train began.
Beautiful. Now, I'm lucky to have read Peace Train, and I love the book. So could you give us a little snapshot, an overview of what Peace Train's all about?
Peace Train is a story about two Palestinians and an Israeli. And they meet at camp, and they become really good friends. They go home, they stay friends, and something horrific happens to them. Just awful happens to them. And they decide to say, no more. This isn't going to happen anymore. And they do something. They bring a camp experience to the people. And they bring a peace not only to their country, but to the rest of the world in the way nobody ever thought was possible. Wow.
So how long did it take you to write this book? And did you have help along the way?
Oh, yeah. I think the first draft, it took me about maybe 6 months. And then I wasn't sure I had a very good story, so I started sharing it with people.
That's a good
And
idea.
they loved it. And then other people gave me pointers. And because I'd never written a fiction before, I listened to their ideas and integrated them. And so it probably took me maybe a year to actually then get it to a publisher.
Wow. And so it took you a year, which actually isn't that long at all, Renee. If you know, going through traditional publishing companies, it could take 6 months just to get a reply, but you
Yeah.
got it all done in a year. And then the publishing process, was that a hard, challenging process for you as well?
Yeah, it was because the original publisher kind of went bankrupt and kind of, you know, took the book. And I finally got it back. And so then I had to get it with another publisher, and that all worked out really well.
That's
And
so great.
through that process, I want to say this, through that process, I did not focus on the problem. I focused on the solution. What do I want to do here? What do I want to get?
Excellent.
And I said, okay, I want to find another publisher. And I did. And it's been wonderful. So
That's so great.
yeah.
You know, I think in every situation, they say that when you have a goal, you're going to be tested. So that is a great lesson that you can pass on to others, that you persevere, you keep going, right?
You know, it's easy for the mind to stew about a problem. You know, we do that. It's a bad habit. But I really have been working on myself to not focus on the problem. If there's a problem that shows up, I go, okay, so what else is possible here? What can we do to change this situation? And that really does help.
Of course.
It makes a difference.
Now, you know, you're one of the few people I know, Renee, who's not only taken on self-publishing a book, and as a self-published author myself, I know that's a big challenge, but now you've gone a step further into making it a movie. So can you tell us a little bit about that process? Because as you know, it's a totally different animal creating a movie than a book.
Well, it's,
a big
you know, I knew that I had to have a story. And I knew that in order to do a film. So that's why I wrote the book, so that I could have a story. And about a year ago, I made a commitment and said, I am going to start filming this film in a year. And the minute I made that commitment, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know much at all. What happened is these amazing people landed in my lap. So I have this team that is excited about the story, and they're working with me. And all of them have lots of experience in film, and they've attached to me. And so we are doing this project together. And at the moment, we have a production company in China that is excited about our project. We're getting the script translated into Chinese so they can understand what the story's about.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And then, you know, they think they can find us the money we need to produce the film. And so this is going to be an international story when we're done, because we're going to put the camp in China, and then we're going to go to Israel. So we're probably going to shoot in 3 different countries.
Amazing.
And,
well, yeah. I mean, can you just tell us a little bit of the process that you went through to create a movie? Did you have, I'm sure that your first book about You're Smarter Than You Think, the brain power skills played a role in your being able to actualize a movie, create a movie. Did you put out positive intent and then start doing research? What were some of your tips, if you wouldn't mind sharing them?
Well, you know, I think the most important thing that I did is I committed to doing it. I have to tell you that coming to that place of commitment was pretty scary, because I made a commitment, said, okay, 9 months from now, I'm going to be shooting a film. Wow. And I'm okay. All right. I don't have any money. I don't know how to do this. I don't know anything.
Unbelievable.
And I made that commitment, and it was tough to do. But the minute I made that commitment, things started happening. And I call them crumbs. little crumbs started to appear, and I would follow the crumb, and the crumb would lead me to where I needed to go next. So it's really been a fun.
Wow. Wow. Well, I think a lot of people can learn a lot from you. Can you tell us, what would you like people to learn from this movie and book? What would you like them to come away with?
I think a couple of things. First of all, what I want to say is that we don't have to live so miserably. We don't have to be miserable. And the second thing is that connection is more important than we realize. And that if we start connecting, then love can step in and help us along the way. And we don't realize this. So I'm hoping that this story will encourage people to begin to connect, not on Facebook, but face to face, and realize that, yeah, we may look different. We may have different religions, but when you get down to the bottom line, we're the same. We're beautiful people.
Wow.
We're big.
Well, would you say it's fair that your overall intention really is to help bring more peace to the world? Would you say that would be an accurate statement?
I don't get excited about changing the world. Doesn't do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can touch individuals and change their lives so that they have more peace and more love in their lives, hey, how does it get any better than that?
Yeah.
That's what turns me on.
Oh, that's beautiful. Each one touch another person, sort of like a ripple effect, right?
Exactly. The ripple effect. That's what I like.
I love that. So tell us, how can people get in touch with you, Renee, to learn more about Peace Train, and where can they buy your book?
Well, the book is everywhere, but you can go to Amazon. It's on Audibles. It's in all different formats. You can go to our website, which is www.peacetrainmovie.com. And if you want to contact me, you can send me an email from there, and there'll start being information about the movie as the funding comes in. So we're gonna detail everything that happens in putting this film together once the funding comes in.
I love it. So it's peacetrainmovie.com, correct?
Exactly. That's right.
So there's a contact page. You can also go to Amazon or bookstores and request Renee's book, Peace Train.
And I'm on all the social media platforms. You can contact me through that, Facebook and Pinterest and LinkedIn and everybody, Twitter. I'm everywhere.
Love it. So Renee, let's think of one closing message that you'd like to leave with the audience listening. What do you want them to remember that will touch their lives and share a little bit of what you're all about, your story?
I want to say to each of you that anything is possible, and I mean that. And my life is an example of that. And I want you to trust that and run with it, because you can have a life that's joyful and loving and peaceful. All you have to do is ask for it.
That is beautiful. Wow. Thank you so much, Renee. Our world needs to hear that message. So if you are listening to this and would like to share it with others, I would love to have you do that. I want to thank Renee Mollan-Masters, who is a master at communication. And you've given so much. You've given so much to us right now and to all the others who are listening. So keep on making a difference, all of you. My message to you is I believe in you. Each of you can make a difference. So go forth and have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.